Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank where I climb the online Series 8 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Today we're trying out a super interesting and fun team with Assault Vest Dialga built by one of my Twitch subs, AeroVGC, so thank you to Aero for the team. Assault Vest Dialga is a really compelling Pokemon in the format right now. It is an incredible Dynamax restricted Pokemon, does a ton of damage, and also gets access to really great moves, allowing it to boost both its defense and special defense through max moves. So Dialga is really the star of this team. The rest of the Pokemon you've seen a bunch of in Series 7, but the cool thing about Dialga is that it gets Telepathy, and so you can combo it with Choice Scarf Landorus and spam those Earthquakes next to Dialga while Dialga maxes and ignores those Earthquakes. So the team is really centered around Dialga. You can also not only give Dialga defense boosts, but you can also give those boosts to, all of Dialga's partner Pokemon. This is especially valuable for something like Tapu Fini, where you can often set yourself up for endgames by, Calm Minding, making Tapu Fini very, very difficult to actually KO. The one other interesting thing here is the Safety Goggles on the Rotom Heat. Safety Goggles is really good as a counter to both Amoonguss and Venusaur, so this allows you to basically completely crush Amoonguss and Venusaur, switch in on a potential Spore, overheat them, and ignore those Rage Powders. We played a bunch with Safety Goggles and Incineroar in the last two episodes, and you saw how strong that set could be and how strong that item can be in general. So thank you to Aero for the team. I played with this on stream a couple of days ago. Really loved the team, so I wanted to feature it for you all on Road to Ranked. And after using that Kyogre Rain team, I actually think AV Dialga is probably one of the best answers to Kyogre in the format, so it's definitely a Pokemon you should consider trying out. So thanks to Aero once again for the team. The Rento and the Paste are in the description below, and let's get started with today's episode. Question of the day, with us using Dialga, which is actually one of my favorite restricted Pokemon. I used it way back in VGC 2010, Dialga and Kyogre to be specific, on like a Trick Room team. So I want to know what your favorite thing about Gen 4 is in the comment section below. And let's get started. Thanks as always for watching. If you enjoyed, please show support by leaving a like, and I'm eager to see what teams we go up against today. Alright, getting into our first game of the day. What do we got here? Calyrex, Rhyperior. That's interesting. I can't help but wonder whether or not there's Trick Room on Whimsicott. Otherwise, because Rhyperior feels really odd on that team composition to me. So they obviously have Whimsicott with Tailwind stuff. I feel like AV Dialga plus Landorus is actually a really good combination for us here. So I'm pretty content to just lead that immediately. And in the back, I think I like Urshifu. Having the Focus Sash here definitely helps because they're likely going to set up a Tailwind, but Urshifu is obviously pretty valuable, especially against the Calyrex Shadow. And as the last one, definitely don't think it's Zapdos because of the Rhyperior, Lecky, and Calyrex. Rotom Heat's pretty interesting. It actually walls a lot of my opponent's Pokemon, but Tapu Fini is a little bit bulkier and has a pretty good matchup if we eliminate the Rillaboom. Plus, we have a lot of anti-Rillaboom Pokemon on this team. You don't really want to bring Rillaboom into a matchup with Dialga, Zapdos, Rotom, and Landorus, so okay, let's try this out. The cool thing about Landorus plus Dialga is if your opponent doesn't have Fake Out, no, our opponent does, they can Fake Out with the Rillaboom, but if they don't have Fake Out, you can kind of just spam Earthquake and a max move turn 1, which is kind of nice. Even with Fake Out though, like, Dialga obviously doesn't really care about the Fake Out. I can just like hard switch Landorus out into, say, Tapu Fini, get a max Quake or a max Steelspike off, give Fini a boost. And Dialga is just really difficult to knock out. So I love the Assault Vest Dialga plus Landorus combination. Dialga is a Pokemon that I've seen like a bunch of different items being used on it already, whether it be like Weakness Policy. I've seen some Trick Room sets as well. So this is a pretty versatile Pokemon in early Series 8. Okay, it's going to be Whimsicott and Regieleki. I don't mind that at all. I don't mind that. Because I think I'm definitely Earthquaking. The only question is whether or not my opponent, one, feels the need to Tailwind, and then two, like, I don't even think I need a Dynamax Dialga here, to be honest. Like, I like just Earthquaking and Flash Cannon into Whimsicott. Because, like, I'm assuming my opponent's going to outspeed me in this game anyway, so I don't really care if they outspeed me. And, like, if they Tailwind, you're already faster with both of these Pokemon. Oh, but it's Switcheroo. Okay. With the eject button. Well, it's a good thing I didn't Dynamax there. Unfortunately, they are still faster with the Regieleki, but at least I don't max, and now Whimsicott actually is locked into just attacking. The other downside is that even with Choice Scarf Landorus, we're still slower than Regieleki there, which really stinks. Because if we outsped there, I think we just actually win the game instantly by picking up a double knockout, but that's okay. I'm going to go out into Urshifu here. Oh, wait, I'm going to self-Earthquake myself, so it has to be Tapu Fini, I think. I can't break Urshifu's Sash just like that. Okay, so the upside is that Whimsicott can't Tailwind. The downside is that I don't really get anything off with my Dialga in this early game. Okay. Oh, I forgot though, because of eject button, yeah, Dialeki actually doesn't get to switch out. So we actually still pick up a knockout onto it. That's kind of a funny interaction. I'm glad I did max Dialga though, because obviously if I max there, I would just lose my max immediately on turn 1. So, yeah, I think, if you're max speed Landorus, with Choice Scarf, maybe you outspeed max speed Aleki, but yeah, our opponent's max speed here looks like. We get a knockout. They can only attack with Whimsicott. I expect the Calyrex to come out. No, it's Rhyperior. Wow. Okay. Kind of surprised about that, to be honest, but I don't think that's actually too bad for us. I don't mind just Earthquaking here and switching Tapu Fini back out into Dialga. I could also just Max Fini, but I could see the Rhyperior protecting this turn. Oh, I suppose I might activate a weakness policy with Earthquake, so I should have been a little bit more careful with that. But I don't know. I feel like we're in pretty good shape right now. I'm really surprised my opponent didn't bring out that Calyrex. It's just a shame because Dialga is actually so good into this matchup, where if they did not have the eject button, like, I think it's really difficult for my opponent to do anything against Dialga, but we're going to bring it back out here. Let's see how that plays out. Losing the AV obviously stinks a little bit. They don't max the Rhyperior. Very interesting. Okay, so I reveal Choice Scarf there, but that's okay. It's really good damage, and that's the beautiful thing about Dialga plus Landorus. They're not even weakness policy Rhyperior. Wow. And they just Ice Punch into Landorus. Okay, that's fine by me. I'm assuming it's Calyrex in the back, so I think we can just bring out Tapu Fini now. If it's Calyrex in the back, Urshifu should guarantee win us this game, right? The Whimsicott can't Tailwind, so your Rhyperior is never outspeeding me. My opponent also doesn't have a Steel Resist. So I think it's fine to Calm Mind in this position, Dynamax, and max Quake into Rhyperior. Yeah. I think we're actually in pretty good shape. It's a weird game because like Dialga got put into an awkward spot, but oh, actually Rhyperior probably outspeeds Dialga here. So I think it would have been smarter to just bring out the Urshifu to close combat Rhyperior and Flash Cannon Whimsicott. That was definitely the right play. Because this gets... Okay, we end up maxing though, so I think this is fine then. Unless you're faster with Rhyperior, but I don't even think a high horsepower KOs. I mean, like, Rhyperior on this team composition for my opponent's end was just kind of confusing, to be honest. I didn't know what to expect. But we get the max off. Their Whimsicott's just, like, that's the downside of tricking or switcherooing into an AV, right? Okay, they protect with Rhyperior. That's fine. Yeah, that's kind of what I was expecting, actually. But this play covers all of my options, right? Because I don't take that much damage. I get a special defense boost on both of these. However, Rhyperior could still be faster, so I'm definitely going to Muddy Water next turn to cover for it being faster, and for the option of it Dynamaxing. I'm just really curious about the item on it. It's been so long since I, like, haven't seen weakness policy on a Rhyperior. Like, I was actually expecting maybe, like, Choice Band or something. Oh, Max Quake still one-shots there. Cool. Okay. So we have a pretty clear path to victory now, assuming my opponent's last one is Calyrex. The Urshifu should just destroy it. So what I can do is just max Steelspike and Moonblast into the Whimsicott slot. Guarantee a knockout onto the Whimsicott, Urshifu comes out, and then I can just Wicked Blow into presumably Calyrex. Anything else, and I think Dialga beats anyway. But it is Calyrex, yeah. I'm surprised Rhyperior came first for my opponent rather than Calyrex, because I thought that gave my opponent a better shot. So all I need to do is knock out Whimsicott because I have that Focus Sash in the back. My opponent can't pick up a double knockout in this position. We also know they can't protect with the Whimsicott because it has the AV on it, so yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious on the Rhyperior set here ultimately, but I think we're in good shape. This did not play out how I expected it to. Like I said, I think if they don't have the eject button stuff, like Landorus plus Dialga just does so well in this matchup. But even that, despite that, like, let this be a lesson in playing against Whimsicott. Don't Dynamax unless you really need to, because I think, like, in that position, I definitely could have, like, gotten a little bit greedy and Dynamaxed the Dialga. But if I Dynamax the Dialga here, What do I really get out of it, right? Just a special defense or a defense boost. I'm not really worried about taking much damage from Whimsicott or Regieleki, given that I have the Assault Vest. So they're going to Phantasm into Feeny, and you can see with the Calm Mind boost and the Max Defense boost, Special Defense boost, we actually survive. So that's exactly why I love this Dialga plus Tapu Fini combination. So Tapu Fini goes down, but it doesn't matter. We'll knock out the Whimsicott. It'll be a 2v1 with Urshifu and Dialga, and we should cleanly win the game with Wicked Blow plus a Max Quake. So yeah, not bad. I don't know. I was worried about my opponent setting up the terrain there. I was also, I totally forgot about Unnerve being there because I was expecting Phoenix Berry to activate for us to survive, but it doesn't make much of a difference in this endgame anyway. So let's bring out that Urshifu, and we can just Steel Spike and Wicked Blow for the win. Okay. So let's Wicked Blow here, and let's Max Steel Spike. There's really not much my opponent can do because I have the Focus Sash, and this is like one of the downsides of maxing Calyrex. It is just really weak to Dark type, right? So Dark type Pokemon like Incineroar, like Urshifu, completely destroy it. And that's part of the reason why I think like Calyrex is an interesting option, where I'm actually not sure it's your best use of your Dynamax because the 4x weakness to Dark alone makes it really, really easy to knock you out. And given how common Urshifu and Incineroar are in the format, it is pretty tough to go up against. So they're going to Max Guard here, but I don't really see an out for my opponent at this point. Yeah, Dialga on paper was also just really good into my opponent's team, mainly because it's a really bulky Pokemon, right? Like, even though we lost the Assault Vest, that was honestly not much of a problem for us. So, we can just go for another Wicked Blow. I suspect they might be Focus Sashed here, but because we have Sucker Punch, I don't think it makes much of a difference. Yeah, because I can just Sucker Punch infinitely. Well, not infinitely, I suppose I can run out of PP at some point. But let's see. Yeah, I like our spot. I think you try to KO the Dialga here. What's interesting is if you have Will-O-Wisp on the Calyrex, and then you basically try to stall me out. Oh, it doesn't matter, actually. I just click Wicked Blow this next turn, because you didn't even break my Focus Sash on Urshifu, so it's a guaranteed win. Yeah. Yeah, my opponent didn't really have any way out of this, I think, because we have the Sash. So even if they're Sashed on the Calyrex here, I just Wicked Blow next turn for a guaranteed win. You can't protect in front of it, and Wicked Blow... Yep, it is Focus Sashed. Okay, so that makes sense. I think Sash is probably the most consistent item on it, just because otherwise it can be kind of frustrating to deal with the Dark type. So it at least guarantees you like 2 attacks off, which can typically be helpful. So yeah, we can just Wicked Blow here. No need to Sucker Punch, given that we have the Focus Sash. Even if you go for an A attack, we're guaranteed to survive with 1 HP. So that's exactly why I wanted to bring Urshifu into this matchup. So yeah, turn 1 here, let that be a lesson. Don't Dynamax unless you feel like you're in a lot of danger from taking damage. They actually go for Hyper Beam, so that will bring us down to 1 HP, but the Focus Sash is what saves us here in the end. No reason to Sucker Punch, because if I Sucker Punch and they Will-O-Wisp, well, then I can just Sucker Punch infinitely until, or not infinitely, I Sucker Punch until they stall out my PP, but then no need to deal with those mind games. So, yeah, don't need to overcomplicate things here in the end. And ultimately, I feel like my opponent just didn't have much offense. I'm just surprised they brought out Rhyperior first. I think if Calyrex came out and they Dynamaxed immediately, because I didn't have much threatening Calyrex, I feel like that would have been a better kind of action plan for my opponent. I wonder if they forgot they couldn't Tailwind with the Whimsicott, because I could see them wanting to bring out Rhyperior to Tailwind and then go on the offensive end. But yeah, not a bad game there. Dialga did Dynamax. It was very bulky. My opponent, had to spend a lot to KO it, but I feel like, I don't know. I mean, I don't feel bad about how I played it, but it can be frustrating to fall into the switcheroo stuff, but I'm glad that we didn't at least waste our Dynamax on turn 1. So yeah. Alright, getting into our second game, and we're up against the rank 7 player after going up against the rank 3 player from yesterday, so pretty high-rated opponent, which is exciting. And funnily enough, we're actually going up against the Kyogre team we just used, but it's definitely not the same rental. I noticed that the Pokemon are in different orders and are different genders, so definitely going to be a different take on that Kyogre team. This is where Dialga really comes to shine, though, in my opinion. So I think Dialga would be crucial. It would be very important. But what do I want to lead it with? Because my opponent could just lead Tornadus Kyogre. So I'm thinking Landorus Dialga. This beats anything if you don't lead the Tornadus. Even if you do, I can just switch Landorus out turn 1. I think Feeny is probably a must just as a switch in. And, man, Rotom Heat's actually kind of interesting here. Because if you eliminate Kyogre, Rotom Heat actually crushes this matchup. It's just, how easy can I actually eliminate Kyogre, right? Zapdos is honestly not even a bad Dynamax option in this game. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't tunnel vision so hard on maxing Dialga now that I think about it. It's not a bad max option, though. Okay, wait, maybe it's Zapdos Dialga, then. And we don't bring Landorus. What's Landorus doing for me here? Mainly Intimidate into Kartana and Incineroar and some Rock Slides, but... Okay, I actually like Zapdos more, with Rotom and Feeny in the back. Yeah. I don't know, Rotom seems really weird, obviously, given that our opponent has Kyogre, but, like... I know I've called it Kyogre Rain before. It's not really a Rain team, though, right? It's literally just Kyogre. The Rain helps you, because it sets up the Rain to take less super effective damage from Fire-type attacks, but... I don't know. I think Safety Goggles here is also huge against the Amoonguss, and it is going to be Tornadus Kyogre. Okay. So, I definitely have options here. I definitely have options. Oh, I thought I'd let Dialga Zapdos. Okay, Dialga Feeny works here, too. Kyogre's in a weird spot. Like, if I were my opponent, I'd actually probably switch the Kyogre out. But they could greed a Water Spout / Origin Pulse. That would just seem kind of odd to me. Because I could Thunder here. I'm not opposed to just going for a Thunder and a Calm Mind turn 1. Yeah. Kyogre might protect your switch. You could Water Spout here, but that'd be kind of... I don't know. I brought, like, the two best Pokemon I have against Kyogre, so I feel like I'm forcing a switch here. I guess a switch to Kartana could be problematic. But if you bring out Kartana, I'd probably just max Dialga turn 2, Steel Spike into Tornadus, and make Dialga difficult to knock out. Ooh, they go for Taunt. Okay. So it's probably Taunt Water Spout then? Yeah, they did just click Water Spout. Okay, well played. There's going to be a lot of damage on top of Feeny. We'll get a big Thunder off, but that's a good heads-up play to prevent me from Calm Minding there. I think I like protecting Feeny there more, maybe, instead. Great damage onto Kyogre, though. Okay. So with that, I think I actually am going to max Dialga turn 2. Go for a Steel Spike here onto Tornadus. And I'm worried about it being Focus Sashed. I wonder if single target Muddy KOs Kyogre in Rain. Probably not, to be honest, right? Feeny took more damage than I probably should have. Wait, honestly, can't I just Dynamax Zapdos or Rotom? Right? If I just knock out Kyogre? Aren't I in pretty good shape? I don't think we need a Dynamax here. Oh, right, I can't. Sorry, I'm trying to Muddy Water here. I'm down to Thunder Muddy Water. Because... Okay, they would draw Tornadus. Interesting. Into Regieleki. Wow. Are they protecting Kyogre? Oh, double switch. That is really interesting, because I just get a free Muddy Water off in this position. Okay. Doesn't miss. Muddy Water boosted in Rain. That's obviously very good for us. And they never set up a Tailwind, which is really interesting. No accuracy drop, unfortunately, but that's okay. Get a Thunder off against Kartana. That looks like Assault Vest to me. I mean, you probably still Dynamax Kartana right now, right? I mean, I like our position, honestly. I think we're in pretty good shape. I just question, like, maybe it's best to just Dynamax Dialga here and just, like, Max Quake into Kartana. I just don't know if that KOs, which scares me a little bit. And I think I want to switch out into Rotom here. What do you do if you're my opponent? You need to knock out Dialga. You probably need a, like, Max Sacred Sword or Max, Knuckle it. Max Knuckle is kind of scary, but I could Dynamax Zapdos. Okay, I'm gonna Max, I'm gonna Quake, and I'm gonna switch out into Rotom. Kartana is really bad. Kartana and Alecki are pretty bad into Rotom. The only thing I'm worried about is the late game Tornadus Kyogre, like you Tailwind, Origin Pulse, KO everything. So I have to watch out for that potential win condition. And they're not Dynamaxing Kartana. That's interesting. Because I think that means I KO with Max Quake, and that Max Quake means my opponent doesn't have any physical type, or sorry, special. They don't have any physical attackers if I knock out Kartana, right? Which means you're dealing with Regieleki, Kyogre, and Tornadus against the AV Dialga at +1 special defense. Maybe they just like Thunder or Sacred Sword Dialga here. I think that's a possibility. But nope, it's Volt Switch. Okay. I mean, if Kartana's not... Oh, and Alecki just feigns from Life Orb. Yeah, I was really surprised to see a double switch there, but I think we just win the game off that. I just think Dialga is too difficult to knock out, but that's why, one of the reasons why I wanted to feature Dialga on the channel today. It is really good into the Kyogre Rain stuff. Because, like, Kartana's the only real threat to it, And Kartana doesn't do that much damage, especially... I didn't bring Landorus into this game, but Intimidate support helps, right? And I've already done so much damage to my opponent. You probably Dynamax the Kyogre at this point. But to what success? What degree of success, right? And that's one of the downsides of the Rain team. You don't have too much offense outside, like... Well, I mean, Aleki, Kyogre, and Kartana actually all do really well, but, like, Kartana and Aleki are really frail, right? So by double switching in this game from my opponent, I think they definitely hurt themselves a little bit. Feeny and Zapdos will easily win against the Kyogre here. I think I'm pretty sure Thunder KOs through Protect. Maybe not. But I'm pretty sure Dialga should survive any max move from Kyogre or a Water Spout. I'm down to Thunder and Max Lightning into it, though. You have to Max Guard here to win the game if you're my opponent, otherwise you will lose. Protect does not save you. And even if you Max Guard, that's already one turn of your Dynamax down, and I still have Zapdos plus... Oh, they're going for Confusion. But you can't confuse, because Terrain is up. Yeah. Okay, that's game over. They just didn't max in this game, and they never had a good position to. I can definitely understand why they went for the Sacred Sword, hoping to just knock out the Dialga. I think, though, my opponent probably needed to double up onto the Dialga in that position to potentially win the match. Because Dialga was definitely not fainting from a Sacred Sword. Even a crit Sacred Sword, I'm pretty sure we'd survive comfortably with. Maybe not comfortably, but yeah. I think if they went Thunder Sacred Sword into Dialga... Oh, you know what their play was, actually? As crazy as it seems... It may have been to max Lightning plus Sacred Sword into Dialga. The only question is, I don't even know if that's enough for a knockout, to be honest. So, yeah. Dialga's just really... AV Dialga is such a monster against the Kyogre Tornadus stuff, so... One of the reasons I wanted to feature this team was because I know when I featured the Dialga Tornadus, or Kyogre Tornadus team, I saw a bunch of comments, especially in that first video, where it's like, yeah, I'm kind of tired of playing against it, so if you want a team that has a pretty good matchup against it, I think AV Dialga, like this team, definitely can be it, so, yeah. Alright, they're going to Dynamax Tornadus, but that's probably the second to worst max option on that team after Amoonguss. Amoonguss is definitely the worst one. But there are some unique scenarios where I could see you maxing Amoonguss if you're running Sludge Bomb, because you could partner with Kyogre and like max Ooze to give Kyogre a special attack boost. It's a really niche scenario, but you should never count out any Dynamax. Okay, they just max guard. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm curious whether or not they can even knock out the Dialga. Assuming they have max Hailstorm, like maybe you can still do something against Zapdos. Actually, I don't even think so, because you can't knock out both Pokemon here. I'm just gonna... Well, I guess I can't Thunder now. I would Roar of Time for the animation, because it's really, really cool, but you don't even get the animation off in this position. So the safest play is to just Flash Cannon and Thunderbolt here. Yeah. Oh, you know, it's actually probably safer to protect Zapdos, because, yeah, I'm gonna get hit by a Hailstorm. I don't think this KOs, but if they crit, that'd actually be a problem. Yeah. Protecting there is safer, I think. No crit, though, fortunately, so that should be game over, because Tornadus can't knock out every Pokemon at once right now. Life Orb Thunderbolt almost just knocks out Tornadus. Are you Citrus Buried? Nope. Flash Cannon picks up the KO. Nice. Yeah, I was thinking my opponent's only out there was maybe Max Guard with Kyogre. The good thing is with Tapu Fini, they couldn't even get any confusions off across the board, so that was obviously helpful for us. So, yeah, not bad. And that is why it is Dialga time today. That's exactly why I wanted to bring in Dialga. I think it just has a really favorable matchup against Kyogre and Zacian, actually. I mean, Zacian can close combat it, but like Dialga being able to boost up the stats is valuable. So it was Sash Tornadus, Mystic Water Kyogre, but it looks like pretty much the same team as what we were using, actually. Same sets, but with Assurance, okay, instead of Darkest Lariat here. Cobra Berry on the Amoonguss. Yep. And Life Orb on the Aleki. So nearly identical team to the... I mean, yeah, you're going to... Like I said, you're going to see that core everywhere. It's just going to be slight variations that are different here and there, right? The item on Aleki, for example, maybe people run Magnet. The item on Tornadus definitely can be up in the air. Obviously, Focus Sash is common. You could run Mentorb. You could run Citrus Berry. You could run Protect on it as well. Incineroar could run the standard Berry. Whoa, Kyurem White. That's awesome. Or Kyurem Black? Kyurem Black. Okay, I think it's another Dialga game. I mean, Dialga, like, comes out in every game because it does not get hard beat. Like, very few Pokemon in this format actually threaten it to the point where you don't want to bring it. My opponent actually does have Swampert, though, which could be a little bit scary because I don't know if it's going to be physical or special. That will be interesting. So, I like the Dialga lead here. No, Ego's scary. I mean, Dialga Landorus honestly seems solid here. If they don't lead Tornadus, this just kind of crushes them immediately. But even if you lead Tornadus, the downside about Tornadus is that it doesn't really do that much damage. My opponent has a lot of scary Pokemon here, though, I'm not going to lie. I think it's going to be Urshifu and Feeny. I don't like Rotom Heat into a matchup with the Kyurem and the now Ego and the Swampert. Similarly, I don't like Zapdos for those Pokemon I mentioned. Okay. I don't know, I'm actually kind of nervous about my damage output outside of Dialga, and the scary thing with how we're playing this is they're going to have Tailwind if they bring... They should bring Tornadus. I don't even have a way to deny Tailwind, so if you bring Tornadus and Tailwind, you're going to outspeed me for 3 turns consecutively. So the hope is to outbulk my opponent with Dialga, you know. Tornadus Arcanine. Okay, I don't mind that at all, because that's very passive. Now, there could be a Snarl from the Arcanine, which scares me. I think one of the things I struggled with the most when playing with this team is the fact that Dialga, if you get a single special attack drop onto it, whether it be from like a Snarl or an Eerie Impulse or some other way, it does limit it significantly. So, let's see. Fortunately, Max Bug isn't that common, so like that's not really a major concern. I think this is an example of a position where we don't Dynamax with Dialga, because I'm not at much risk of taking damage. The question is, what do I do? If I'm my opponent, what am I doing? I would Tailwind and maybe Will-O-Wisp the Landorus. I just want to respect a Snarl turn 1, because if I max Dialga and I get Snarl, that's not exactly a favorable outcome for us. Thinking Earth Power and actually switch out into Tapu Fini. The logic behind this play is that Tornadus Arcanine is not a very oppressive duo in terms of damage. Even if you hit me with the Snarl, turn 2, you're basically forced to either hope for me to KO something or hard switch yourself. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could have played more offensively. I could have gone like Earthquake, Dynamax, Dialga, but I think I'd actually rather play defensively on turn 1, especially because I don't need the, like, I don't feel the need to max immediately. Oh, they actually taunt expecting Trick Room. Okay. That's fine. And it is Snarl, yeah. Yeah. But the reason I'm okay with that is because, like, had I max Dialga, I'd be playing with -1 special attack max Dialga, and that's just so much worse than... Ooh, Shuka? Interesting. Okay. I could have Rock Slided there. Didn't really want to. That's fine. Could greed a Calm Mind here with Tapu Fini, but I'm probably not going to. Do they have a switch in into Earth Power plus Muddy Water? Not really, other than Kartana, but Kartana actually still takes a chunk from that. So, I'm actually content to go with this play. If you're my opponent, maybe you Snarl with Arcanine, but basically I'm trying to do what I did in the last game, which is just leave Tornadus on the field, render it useless. Yeah, you can taunt me all you want, but since you've already revealed taunt, I'm not even going to bother trying to Calm Mind. Dialga avoids the second Snarl, which is kind of fortunate here, so that's lucky. And that's the problem with Tornadus. After it gets Tailwind up, if you're not, like, you know, if you're up against Pokemon that don't take much damage from flying type attacks, or I guess ice type attacks if you're running Icy Wind, it really struggles in my opinion. So this is like the same syndrome as like Whimsicott, right? Where I'm actually just intentionally leaving the Tornadus on the field because I don't really have to worry about it. It's not really pressuring me with damage, and I'm effectively playing a 2v1 right now. Sure, I've gotten taunted, but that taunt on Dialga ends up being a waste because I don't have Trick Room. That's the other great thing about this Dialga. You do have to respect Trick Room from Dialga, and my opponent absolutely should have, because if you look at their team, they have a really fast team. Here's what I'm worried about, though. Swampert. I just don't know what to expect from it. Like, what kind of set it's running. I'm down to switch Dialga out into Landorus here. Try to bait a Max Quake into that slot, and go for a Muddy Water. I don't know if it's physical or special. That's the other part of the problem here. Because when I was talking about Pokemon that threatened Dialga, I was saying how there weren't many. Well, if it's special Swampert, that's actually probably one of the best counters to this Dialga. So I'm nervous about that. But we will get an Intimidate off here. Oh, they don't max. That's I wonder if they read the switch out. That would be a great read. Nope, they high horsepower. Okay, good. Good, good. I missed Muddy Water on the Swampert. That's unfortunate, but that's okay. Given that they missed Snarl, I feel like can't really complain. Tornadus is in such an awkward spot right now. Ideally... Oh, they just revealed high horsepower, so we know they're physical. Okay. I'm going to pull the switch back out into Dialga, because now I know you're physical and just Muddy Water again. And then what I can do is max Dialga, switch Feeny out into Landorus, boom, Swampert's at -2, even if you max Quake. I'm not taking that much damage, and I basically try to stall out Tailwind. Looks like they're going to stay in with Tornadus, which is interesting. Oh, Wide Guard. Very cool. Swampert's actually, yeah, like a really effective Wide Guard user. Okay, they just Air Slash there, though. That's fine. Because they're stalling out their own Tailwind right now, right? And now that you've revealed Wide Guard, I'm just going to Moonblast with Tapu Fini instead. Okay, we shake off Taunt. That's good. See, the thing is, I could Dynamax here, but with Misty Terrain up, it's actually not ideal. It's just that the switch it back out into Landorus this time around is somewhat obvious. Well, I don't mind picking up a knockout. They should have Kyurem in the back, right? Oh, I think we actually switch Feeny out. I like this play. I like Dynamaxing. I like Wormwinding into the Tornadus, get a KO onto that, and switch Feeny out into the Landorus. Yeah. Because, like, I haven't taken any damage at this point, right? So, I feel like we're in pretty good shape. We know it's physical. My Dialga is at neutral. You've revealed high horsepower. I assume water and an ice type attack, like Waterfall, Ice Punch, or Liquidation. I think Swampert gets Liquidation, if I remember correctly. But by maxing Dialga, I don't really take much damage. And, I get Swampert down to -3 attack. So, basically, that Swampert is going to be useless. Oh, I suppose it can still Wide Guard, so I shouldn't say it's useless. But if my opponent's last one is Kyurem, like, I think Dialga should do pretty well. The only questionable thing here is whether I actually wanted to intentionally knock out Tornadus, because like I said, it might be in our favor to just leave it on the field. Whereas now I do give my opponent a switch in if I KO it. They just Air Slash. Okay, that's fine. Maybe going for a flinch. And Liquidation. Yeah, expecting a Landorus switch in. Good. Yeah, there was little reason to need to switch Dialga there. Especially for maxing. So we get the KO. I think Tailwind only has 1 turn left. I just don't really know what sets Kyurem's really run. So if it's physical, I'm like nervous about Dialga getting dunked on here damage-wise. That could be scary. The Wide Guard here is actually a pretty big problem as well, but because we have Focus Sash in the back, I think that's somewhat valuable. They bring out Kyurem. Yep, that looks so freaking cool. That is so sick. Okay. Last turn a Tailwind. Probably correct to just Wormwind here into Kyurem, right? And switch out Landorus into Feeny. I still haven't taken any damage yet, which is good. And I still have 2 turns of Dynamax. Oh, they just end up forfeiting. Okay. I actually want to look up what Kyurem does. Because I don't know. I think one thing we've been able to do effectively in the last couple of days is just like render our opponent's Dynamax kind of useless until it's too late. That was Kyurem White, right? Oh, we can check. I'm actually fascinated about that team because there was a lot of cool stuff there. Wait, is this Kyurem White or Kyurem Black? It's shiny, so it's Kyurem Black, isn't it? Yes, yes. Okay, well, so that's good to know. So it is physical. Yeah, obviously it has Terrible. What am I saying? Dragon Claw, Free Shock, Fusion Bolt, Protect, Life Orb. Focus Sash Tornadus, no Icy Wind with Protect. Berry Arcanine. Agwav Swampert, yeah. Interesting, so it didn't have an Ice type attack. That makes sense, you have Protect. Solve as Kartana, and now Ego. I mean, the main problem, or like the main upside that we've been able to do, or like the advantages we've been able to gain, our opponents just aren't able to knock out Dialga, right? You can see how bulky this Pokemon is. And if you overwhelm your opponent in the early game with Dialga, like they just don't have many answers for it in the late game. So, yeah. The main thing, what I really want to emphasize is being smart on when to Dynamax with Dialga, because when I was practicing with this team, I actually lost a lot of games by greeting Dialga Dynamax too early, and I got shut down by a bunch of different things. Eerie Impulse Raichu, Eerie Impulse Aleki, Eerie Impulse Thunder. I mean, anything with Eerie Impulse, basically. And that's exactly why I didn't want to Dynamax turn 1 with the potential of Snarl. If Dialga's not in much risk of taking too much damage, you can often get away with not Dynamaxing it, and it will work in your advantage, because I think if I Dynamaxed in that Whimsicott game or in that last game, maybe we'd still be in okay shape, but like, in that first game, I just would have lost my Dynamax immediately. That's really bad. And in this game, that last game, like, I get Snarled, it doesn't feel super good. So, yeah. It's another Dialga game for sure here, so I'm just leading it right away. They have Kyogre plus the Kingdra. So the good thing is that Max Wormwind, I think, actually one-shots Kingdra, even if they Dynamax, which is kind of cool. How do I want to lead this? I think it's Feeny or Urshifu, one of them as a lead, and then the other in the back for sure. And then I don't know who the fourth one will be yet. Maybe Rotom? I lean towards a Feeny lead. Sure, Feeny or Urshifu. Definitely not Landorus, so it's Rotom or Zapdos. Landorus doesn't make much sense here because I'm not intimidating much and I'm weak to so many Pokemon from my opponent's end. Okay, I'm going to go with Zapdos here. It's a little bit bulkier. Plus I have Heat Wave. Rotom actually could have been interesting. Because of Overheat into Metagross, but with the rain likely going up in this match, I'm not super confident in it. So, yeah. I hope this episode highlights how good Dialga is, though. Like, I'm really also glad we went up against the Kyogre Tornadus rain team, because Dialga has actually just won us, like, the game kind of single-handedly in all of these matches, it feels like. So it's Tornadus plus Metagross. Okay, I don't mind that. Although now I wish I brought Tapu... Not Tapu Fini. I wish I brought the Rotom Heat a little bit more. But I can turn 1, protect Tapu Fini, max Steelspike. Ah! This is just, like, once again, the awkward thing. Like, do I actually want a Dynamax here? Maybe. Maybe. Because I think if you're my opponent, what I'm nervous about is the Metagross going super hard with, like, max Quakes right now, and Dialga taking too much damage from that. I also don't mind giving myself some boosts here. What's their threat to Tapu Fini in the back? They have Rillaboom. That's actually a pretty... Would they really have Rillaboom? I feel like you want Kyogre in the back. But maybe they didn't bring Kyogre because they realized how good Dialga is against it. I don't want to activate a weakness policy on Metagross. I think turn 1 I'm content to just Steel Spike Tornadus and Muddy Water here. I'm down for damage. I think Calm Minding might be a little bit greedy because 1, Tornadus can taunt, and 2, Calm Mind's useless if they do end up having Rillaboom in the back. So this is an example of where I am at risk of taking a fair amount of damage from the Metagross from a Max Quake. Oh, I guess you could just Brutal Swing. I didn't even think about that. Like, it's been a while since I've seen Tornadus Metagross, even though this is like one of the first duos in Series 7. So that could be bad. That's probably not ideal. If you just Dynamax Brutal Swing weakness policy... yeah, that could be a problem. The good thing is we're faster with Dialga, so if you're going for Brutal Swing this turn, I at least outspeed you and get a defense boost before you get it off. And it means you don't get Tailwind off. And if you go for Tailwind, I just knock out Tornadus without activating weakness policy, so yeah, I think it's okay. Battle of the Steel types here, though. Let's see. Tailwind or Brutal Swing? Oh, I like that option. That's a really good option. Because it allows you to get damage off. I mean, I think I'm okay. It's still the same position in the sense that my opponent... actually pretty good damage from Muddy Water there. I could have Calm Minded, but I'm not sure I'm the biggest fan of Calm Mind turn 1 for the reasons I stated earlier. Nice Protect, though. Like, Dialga really can pull away with the game if you actually pick up knockouts quickly enough, because despite being so bulky, it's actually an offensive, like, beast as well. Yeah, it's going to be Max Quake, as expected. Into Feeny, okay, nice. So yeah, this is why I love using Dialga, because it's such a good partner for Tapu Fini here as well. So that's perfect. I think it's just Steel Spike again. What switch-ins do they have into a double up? They protected, so Steel Spike plus Muddy Water is pretty safe here. I'm down for that. Maybe Moonblast is better. I don't think Tornadus switches here, though. I think you Tailwind here. And the reason why that Protect is nice because it basically gives them an extra Tailwind turn now. But because I have the defense boost on both, I'm actually not too concerned right now. It is going to be Tailwind, that's fine. Both of my Pokemon, I think, are bulky enough to stall out this Tailwind. Urshifu is my endgame answer against Metagross, which is why I wanted to just get some chip with Muddy Water, because I think if we do, like, you know... It's not a crit? Yeah. Okay. That's not great. That's okay, though. I feel like I've gotten, like, fairly lucky in my last, like, 2 weeks of playing Road to Rank. Like, we barely have had bad luck, so I can't complain. In fact, actually, I mean, like, the fact we even survived there is awesome, so, yeah. Okay, hopefully Steel Spike KOs, actually. Oh, no, it's not going to, because I forget, they get another boost off. Oh, I should have Max Lightning there, then. That's actually a really big mistake, because now Tornadus can activate Weakness Policy on Metagross. I didn't account for Tornadus getting the second special defense boost, so... And it's actually Citrus. Looks like it's a little bit bulkier than the previous Tornaduses we played. Okay, nicely done. So now if you're my opponent, I think you can just Brutal Swing and attack again. The upside is that Dynamax is over after here, right? I think I will just Steel Spike into Tornadus. It's definitely tricky. I guess Muddy Water. I don't know. I could have protected Feeny there. If I could replay that turn, I definitely would have gone Max Lightning into Tornadus. Oh, wow. Maybe they're not Weakness Policy then if they're switching out. Or maybe they were reading Max Lightning that turn. That's a possibility as well. Okay, we take those, though. They go for a Steel Spike here. Nice. This Feeny is so hard to KO with these boosts. So let this also be a lesson on Dynamaxing. Like, don't think about it solely from the offensive perspective. Think about it from a defensive perspective as well. I bet this Raichu has Brutal Swing as well, but I don't know. Maybe Tornadus doesn't have Brutal Swing. What do we see? We saw Protect, Tailwind. Wow, that just KOs Raichu. Okay. Nice. I'm surprised they wanted to conserve Tornadus as much as they did, but I can see what they're going for if they want to get like another Tailwind up in this game. So yeah. But our Dynamaxers are both over, and I'm totally okay with that because my Dialga is boosted up. I guess they have Kyogre in the back. Kyogre in the back. I mean, I have 3 defense boosts, no special defense boosts. They still have Tailwind up. But now that their Raichu is out of the way, at least I can safely Thunderbolt into Kyogre, so that's an upside. And I should survive like a Water Spout plus a Stomping Tantrum here. There's 2 turns of Tailwind, I believe? Yeah. Okay, I think our win con is Thundurus plus Urshifu, right? I don't think I actually protect Tapu Fini here because I want to get a free knock. I want my opponent to knock it out so that they can't pick up a double knockout the subsequent. Actually, maybe it's okay if even if they pick up a double KO. It's definitely Thunder into Kyogre here. The only question is whether or not I sacrifice the Fini because I could protect here easily to just stall another turn of Tailwind. I think I lean towards protecting. And then you double knock me out the next turn, but then I just bring out Thundurus plus Urshifu. Or Zapdos plus Urshifu, I should say. I don't know. Okay, let's say I don't protect. I lose Tapu Fini. I bring in Zapdos. It's probably the same outcome anyway, right? It's just instead of protecting with one Pokemon, I protect with both. Like, protect with both. Like, I have Zapdos and Urshifu and just double protect with both. Yeah, Water Spout doesn't even do 40% there. They Iron Head. Oh, they're going for a flinch. But Dialga does not flinch. Okay, nice. Oof, that was scary. I think that should actually seal the game up at this point, given that we have Zapdos and Urshifu in the back. I think if they conserve their Raichu, things could have gone... Oh, it's not over yet by any means, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. But now I'm content to just Thunder and Muddy Water. Because at this point, I can just Wicked Blow, and this is where, once again, Focus Sash on Urshifu is such a darn good item. I just doesn't care about what my opponent has to throw in my way right now. Even if you get the Tailwind up again, I'll still survive, right? Okay, so Kyogre does protect. I suppose because of this scenario in which Kyogre gets another protect off, maybe it's... Oh, actually, they knock out Fini for us. Okay, that's very kind of them. Nice. Okay, so I think that actually should secure the game up for us because all we have to do is bring in Urshifu. This is where endgame Urshifu is just so good, right? It doesn't care about your opponent's attacks. Or protects, I should say. It has Focus Sash specifically here. So I have a guaranteed KO onto the Metagross slot. And because I have Focus Sash, I don't think Kyogre can really flinch us. Like, we basically just Thunder and Wicked Blow here, and there's nothing my opponent can do to stop that. Unless Metagross is bulky enough to survive a Wicked Blow. I suppose that's the one scary thing here. Oh, there's another turn of Tailwind! Wait, I didn't protect. Wait, was there another turn of Tailwind? Yeah, there was, right? We just needed to protect. Oh. Wait, is Tailwind not up? Why is Kyogre outspeeding me? I am confused. Because I thought I stalled out Tailwind. Wait. Isn't Urshifu... Or is this admin Urshifu? That might be the thing. Because Kyogre is base 90. Yeah, Tailwind wasn't up there. They're not scarfed, right? They revealed Orange Impulse. I have to double check this Urshifu. Because I thought we'd outspeed. It might be admin instead. Ah, it is admin. Okay, well, good to know that. That's actually really important to know. I like had a brain fart and thought it was Jolly. That admin's a really big deal because it means you do more damage, but it also means you get outsped by Kyogre. Now, in this endgame scenario, it didn't end up mattering because we basically had checkmate anyway, but yeah, I should have double-checked that before. I thought I brain farted and forgot about Tailwind for a second. I was like, that's one way to throw the game, but yeah, it's just Admin or Shifu. But because we're Admin, we just do more damage, and that's really valuable for endgame scenarios, especially when you have that Focus Sash. Doesn't matter if you bring Urshifu down to its 1 HP. 1 HP is infinitely more than 0 HP, right? So, yeah. Dialga was so good in this episode. I think this was like the perfect episode to highlight how strong of a Pokemon this can be. But don't get me wrong, it's not unbeatable. I played a bunch of practice games last night to get the hang of it. And yeah, I think it's really important to recognize when to Dynamax Dialga and when not to. If you get greedy and Dynamax it on turn 1 and you get hit by a stat drop, it can be really, really detrimental, so be careful about that. But Dialga's a pretty safe lead, and what that allows you to do is it opens up your options right from turn 1, which is really, really nice. So, thank you so much to AeroVGC for the team. Once again, please go check it out. There is a rental and a paste linked in the description below. Should have double-checked that paste and realized it was Admin, not Jolly, so that was my bad. Fortunately, it didn't end up affecting the game, but I suppose it could have been scary if, like, Metagross for some reason had Bullet Punch, but I feel like that's pretty much non-existent on Metagrosses nowadays, so because we're Sash, it didn't matter anyway. In fact, the Admin only helps us by guaranteeing a lot of knockouts that you don't normally get with Jolly, so yeah. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to answer the question of the day. Let me know what your favorite thing about Gen 4 is. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you all next time. All right, peace.